Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another puzzle from FullDeck and missing a few cards. This one is called Barred Shots, and as you can see, it will be standard Sudoku arrows and cages. That said, let's take a look at all of the details of our rules here. So we've got standard Sudoku rules. So the digits 1 through 9 will appear once in every row, column, and 3x3 box. We've got arrows. Digits along an arrow must sum to the number indicated in the circle, from which the arrow emerges. Digits may repeat along arrows if allowed by other rules. So our typical arrow clues. So these two digits here, whatever they are, will add to a value. That value will be in the circle. And then cages. So digits and cages cannot repeat and must sum to the value shown in the upper left corner of the cage. So we've got a few cages shown in here. These guys will add 16, these to 15, these to 13, etc., etc., and we can't repeat digits. So, and of course, as always, you can go to their website to find more of their puzzles if you wish to do so yourself. So, with that said, I don't have a huge intro. Let's just get started with this one. Link is in the description below. So, question's going to be, where do we want to start? I think we're going to start on our arrows here, because we have a multitude of 3-cell arrows where we cannot repeat digits, so we therefore know they must be from 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. Now, thinking about the maths of it, we can't really use the math of it, can we? Because of the fact that these arrows do cross over our cages, but there's an extra cell off of the arrow. Well, can we use it? I think we can a little bit, actually. Because if we think about this particular one, I mean, this one will probably work as well a little bit. If this were a 6, the most this could ever be would be 5, and this would have to be a 12. That'll never work. This is 7. The most these could be would be 6. Therefore 11. This was an 8. The most this could be was 7, so this would have to be 10. So this is 9. That's a start. Now we don't really know how it interacts. Well, I guess we do, don't we? Yeah, let's just keep the process going. If this is a 9, the most this can ever be would be an 8. Therefore, this would have to at least be a 9. Therefore, it is a 9. So if these add to 8, and this has to get to a 9, this has to be 1. This can't be a 9. I think we can reduce this 16 in the same way. Because again, 1, 2, 3 cells. If this were to be 6, these can only be 5. If this was a 7, these can only be 6. So this is 8. And if this is 8, the most this can be is 7. So this must be a 9. This must be a 1. Therefore, now this can't be a 9. And we're going to kind of go around in a circle here, it seems. This 6 here, we can remove, because again, the most these could ever be is 5. Now we can't necessarily remove our 7, because we could get this up to a 6 and this be a 9. So we're going to have to find some other way to go about, or another angle in to start to continue on this process that we've got going on here. Now, I was going to think about these guys in terms of what they have to be. We know they're 7, so 2 digits that have to add to 7. We can't use a 1, but there's still 2 ways to do that, 5, 2, and 4, 3. I guess what we can say is that this guy, whatever this is going to leave a fairly high value that must go here. Now, the question is it 9 and 8, is it possible ever to go down to 7? Because if, let's say this was 7, no, we can't go down to 7. Because if this was 7, these would have to add up to 8, and that would never work. So this is either 9 or 8. Now, of course, the 9 would leave 6 left over, and we could do a 1 or a 2 to get to 8. The 8 would leave 7 left over, so we can get a 1, 2, and 8. So this is either 1 or 2. Now, what else can we say? Or what other groupings of digits do we have here that we can work out? Or do we want to think about maybe some Sudoku, because we have a couple of digits that are Now present. So one of these is a 9. Okay, this has to be a 9 because we can't put a 9 on an arrow, and these two 9s are looking in here to take the rest of it. Therefore, this 9 does come into play here and remove this as a possibility of 9. Now, the 6, 7, and 8 will probably all work here. Because, yeah, if we put a 6 here, this could be 5 with 8 left over, etc., etc. And as we go higher up here, the less issue we have down here. But we do know if this is a 9, these two had a 9, and then the entire cage must be 12, so this is 3. What else can we then say? Do we continue with our 9s? Is there anything more we can do with those? Yes, there is. Because of this collection of 9s and the arrows, we can say none of these are 9s, so one of these is, which means this now is no longer a 9, which means it is an 8. If this is an 8, these have to add to 7, and if these have to add to 7, this is a 1, 8 pair. That 8 then also removes the 8 from here. Now again, we have the same situation where we have a 7 left over, but we can do it in two different ways, 5, 2, or 4, 3. But maybe we can come back along with our 8s now that we've started to get them looking into some of these areas. I guess not quite yet. I was going to say, well, I guess we can still use our 9s, because we're going to get, we know one of these is a 9, so this is not 9, so therefore one of these two is. Now we've got an X-wing on 9s, so one of these is a 9. If one of these is a 9 and it's on a 12 cage, we're going to have 3 left, so the only way to make that work is 1, 2, 9. This one not being the 9, of course. Okay, here's a little bit of something. What more can we use with that? Good question. Don't quite see the next thing right away. What else can we think about? The other thing I was thinking about is now that we've got this thing reduced a little bit, we might be able to start putting a possible options of digits down here to be able to round out the 13 clue, but there's probably still a little bit too much option left over there, because let's say this is a 6, these could be at most a 5, and again we're looking at this being possibly 8. If this was a 7, the most these could be would be a 6. This could be a 7. We can probably take that down. Is it possible for this to be a 6? Let's same concept we did over here to see if we can cut this thing down a little bit more. If this was a 6, yeah, that won't work, because again, now we're up to a point where this would be a 7, and that doesn't matter there. So, we have got this down at least a little bit. I guess we can also say the bare minimum of this digit here is a 2, because we have 1 staring at it. But I don't know that that's very helpful. Is the question? Again, no, I don't think it is. Trying to get the brain to figure this out. I don't see anything there just yet. So what else can we start to say? We got to be able to start getting into some of these other arrows where we can start to do similar to what we did here in the 9. So this arrow seems like it would be prime culprit to do a little bit more work. The question is, what is it going to be? Because it has to, at the very most, it could be a 7. Because it can't be the 9 because of the X-wing. It can't be an 8. And it has to at least be 5. Because if it's not, then we're putting a 10 here. So let's think about this grouping then for a second. If this is a 5, this has to be a 9. If it's a 6, it's an 8, which it can't be. So this is not 6. And if it's a 7, this would be a 7, which it doesn't work. Because if this is 7, we have 7 here, so we have to put a 7 here, but that's 2 7s in a row. So this just is 5. So we do end up figuring that out. That's good. Which forces the 9 here. Now we know this is a 5 and it can't use a 1 in it, so it must be a 2-3 pair. Good. We're getting somewhere now. We have another 9. So this is not 9, which means this is. And we're left with our X-wings now. Can we go back to our 8s and see if anything else becomes apparent there? We cannot put an 8 on this arrow, because if we did, we'd have to add a 1 to get to a 9. We can't do either of those things, so this is 8. What else? Oh, that 8 just says this is 7, so we get the same concept that we did here. Now, if this is 7, these have to be 6 to be able to finalize our cage, which means this is 1 and this is 7. That 1 says this is 2 and 1. Good, good, good. So we know this is 6. We can't use a 5-1, so it must be a 2-4. Do we want to continue with our 8s? One of these is an 8. One of these is an 8. It's probably gonna be about all we can do. Well, none of these can be 8s. This by Sudoku, this because of the arrow, where it have to again be an 8-1, which it can't be. So one of these is an 8. I don't know if that's doing anything for us, though, because it doesn't line up with like an X-wing or anything. And it doesn't look like we can really rule out an 8 here for this 15 cage or anything along those lines. What about the 8 up in here? No, nothing really quite there yet, so let's maybe have to move on to something else. Something else. What about you and now getting work done here? Because we said this had to be 7. The only possible ways to do that would have been a 5-2 and a 4-3. This can't be a 2, so this can't be a 5. 2-3 here says this can't be a 3, so this can't be a 4. Almost, but not quite there yet. Probably just need a little bit more information to try to finalize this. Let's think about you then, because we've had success with these guys, and these are only 2 guys left over that we don't have values for. We know it's not 8, we know it's not 9. It could be 7, 6, or 5, if I'm just talking about what this could be in terms of values. Now, if it's a 5, it would have to be a 2-3 because of the 1. If it's a 6, it would have to be a 2-4 because of the 1. If it's a 7, it would have to be a 3-4 because we can't use a 6-1 and we can't use a 5-2. Now that's not. I was hoping we'd get this being a 2 because when the 5 and the 6 both said this would have to be a 2, but that's not working with our 3-4 option here. So let's just put these in. If it's a 5, it's a 2, and this is 3. If it's a 6, this is a 2, and this is a 4. And if it was the 7, it is a 3-4 pair. Okay. Again, nothing spectacular there, but it was worth the look to see if we could figure something out. Okay, so what next do we have? Oh, if we didn't get you, what about you maybe? Can't be 8 or 9. Again, if we could do the 7. 6, 5. This is going to be probably more important because we have such a limited... We probably should look here first, yeah. So these are from 3, 4, and 6. So the bare minimum this can ever be is a 3, 4, which is 7. So that's what it has to be. Therefore, that's what it is. The 3 says this is 4, 3, and therefore this is 6. And that 4 is going to tell us the 2 and the 4. And that was the side we needed to go on to. This can't be a 3 anymore. Now that we've done that, do we have some Sudoku that this has created for us? I'm going to start with the ones. I know the 3s and the 4s are going to probably do something down here. Just want to see if anything else is sticking its little head out here. No, it doesn't look like it necessarily. 3s don't do too much either. The 4 actually doesn't do much because it has 2 options. So, okay. So maybe Sudoku isn't going to get us there at the moment. 7s. 7s help. None of these can be 7s. This can't be a 7. Because if this is a 7, we need to put 2 1s to get to a 9. So this is 7. Let's push this a little further then if we can. Again, none of those are 7s. I guess the concept is try to push a 7 into this 16 cage. I don't quite see where we're getting any real value from the 7, but I'll mark that one and we'll move on. No, and the 9s again, we're going back to having just the X-Wing left over. Okay, let's think about something else then. What about you now, because this 9? Can't make it 8, 1. We can't make it 7, 2, and we can't make it 6, 3. There we go. This is a 5, 4 pair. Okay. Now, if that's the case, what does it tell us about something that these are looking at or in this region? Six, 7, 8. Yeah, I was going to say, trying to make a reduction about what this could be, but there's still quite a bit of options because it could be 2 or 3, which leaves options here. And then 6 would still be possible. But what about you, though? Because the same concept here maybe will help us out. We need to get to 9, so these two have to add up to 8. We can't do 7, 1. We could still do 6, 2, or 5, 3. This wouldn't be 5, so this wouldn't be 3. Okay. 7, I don't think that does anything either. We're going to have one of these things that's going to be the next place to look, like the 7 was here. We just got to find the right place. Or maybe on a row or a column or something like that will help us out here. We know one of these is a 2. Can't say much about the 3. 9s can't really. Okay. That doesn't seem to go anywhere. Can we start to reduce maybe this guy? No. There's going to be something. Let's put these digits in and see what we can work out. I've got to put it down so I can actually see what's going on. Brain is not functioning with mental math very well these last couple of days. 3, 4, and 7 are the options. Now, Oh, obviously not 3. Okay, so it's either 1, 4. Well, not either 1, 4, but we know we have only 3 digits that can work here. It can't be 1, 4, obviously, because this would have to be 11. If it was 1, 7, we'd be at 8. This could be an 8. The other option then would be the 4, 7, which would get 11. So this would be a 5. I guess that, excuse me, is possible. Let's see. Don't see that. Just looking for the, oh, wait, no, that's not enough, but that's not a 2. Which one of these clues can we work with here? I don't quite see. It feels like it's not just random Sudoku. It's some sort of understanding of how something works here, but for some reason I can't quite see it. We know one of these is a 4. Well, 5s are helpful. Okay. Because we have this 4 or 5 pair, one of these is a 5. That pushes the 4 here then. If that's a 4, we're at 5. We need 3 more. That pushes the 2 here. Yep. So I was just looking for, well, it turned out to be Sudoku actually, but not in the sense that I was originally thinking it would be. But anyway, refocus. What are these 3? This has to be a 3-5 pair because of the row. That'll tell us what this digit is, which is 6. These are 5, 7, and 9. The 5 here says this is 5, 9, 7. Good. This can't be 5 anymore, by the way. This is 9. Get rid of that. I was going to say, what are these 2? They are 6 and 8. Get rid of our markings. Now, again, the fact that this got reduced, what did that do here, if anything? I don't know that it quite did. What about you? Because we're now looking at this guy being 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it could go up to a 5, because this could be a 5, 2, and a 1. So let's think about these groupings then. We know this has to add up to 7, so if this is a 3, 4, this is a 3, 4, or it's a 2. Well, this can't be a 3 by Sudoku, so this can't be 4. That doesn't quite get us there yet either, but that's okay. One of these is a 3. Is there anything else that's being pushed up there? Yeah, one of these is also a 2, which means this is not a 2. If that's not a 2, this is not a 6. Okay. So these end up being a 2, 3, 6, 8 possibility. But that doesn't really say a whole lot to me. Okay, where is the next place? I don't think it's going to be back to Sudoku. I said that before and it turned out to be, but you're from 8, 6, and 7. This one can't be 7, but bleh. One of these is a 1. We know one of these is a 1. Again, we know one of those is, but it's not giving us very much. 1, 2, 3. Must go in one of these 2. Trying to find an X-wing somewhere to help me out here. But I'm not finding it. Okay. Onward and upward, I guess. If we must, we must. The 15 clue is the only one I haven't really thought about, and I wonder if it does anything. Because, well, the minimum this could ever be, I think, is a 3, 6, because it can't be 1 or 2 or 4 or 5. So the bare minimum this is 3, 6, which is 9. So the most this can ever be is 6, 7, 8, 9. This has to be 6. No, that doesn't work. Hold on. I have to stop my brain here again because I just said this was 3, 6. Or the minimum would be 3, 6. It can't be 3, 6. Because if it was, this would be 6. So then the minimum is actually 3, 8. Is that what this is telling us? Let me put in our options and run it that way because I'm going to have to do that. Let's just think about the column. Can't be 1, can't be 2. 3 is yes, possibly. No 4s or 5s. 6s could be no 7s, 8s, or no, it could also be an 8. There it is. Again, we said it can't be 3, 6, because if it is, that's 9, and this has to be 6. There has to be that 8 in it. Now that 8 is going to push this 8. Now let's think about this guy further. If this is 8, we have 7 left over. This can't be a 3 because it forced this to be a 4, so this is 6, 1. Somehow, none of that has necessarily told us what other things are, but let's look at these 2 digits. They're 2 and 3, I believe. That is the case. This is 2, this is 3, which means this is 5 and 3. The 5 gives us the 6, which says this is 7. This has to be 2. There we go. We just had to, again, find the right place to go. This is 8 and 6. These are not 2s. In fact, this is what, 3 and 8? 3, 8. And these are what, 4 and 5. That is accurate. Okay, good. Now, 3 here says this is 2 and 3. Still waiting for one of these guys to finalize. Well, this is an 8, so that's going to tell us something about this guy now, right? Because these have to add to 8, so this is a 1-7 pair, which means that's not 1, which means this is. That's not 1. This is a 3-4 pair because of the column, which means this is 2. Good. Now, okay, that's going to solve this because this can't be 2, 3 because that would be 5, so it has to be 2, 4, which is 6. 4 says this is 3. That says 8 and 3. That says this is then 5 and 3. We're at 6 here, so this has to be a 2. Get out of my way, you. That 8 says this is 8. This is now just a given 6. You're not 8. We need a 4 and what, a 7? 7 here. So 4, 7. Good. That 4 says we have a 5 and a 4. This is now just a given 5. Okay. What are you? 6 and 7. So this is 6 and 7. Then we can start looking down the columns for 2s and 5s. We can do that. 5, 2. That gives us 4 and 5. These have to be 4 and 6, so we can do that. 6 and 4. Let's cross over into here somewhere. What are you two? 4 and 7, so we can, again, go that way. That 7 says 1 and 7, and then these are the last 2 digits. This one is the 1, and this one is what? 5. There we go. We got there eventually. You solved the puzzle solutions correct. 1,325 days. Yep, that'll work about right. Really fun puzzle. Got a little slowed down in a couple spots just because trying to find the next place to look. I could have probably got to them a little quicker and didn't think about this 15 cage for a little while, but got there eventually anyway. So anyway, really enjoyed the puzzle as always. Hope you all did as well. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.